Hello, 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 my amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for another exciting edition of, you guessed it, your daily English extravaganza. It's the show with no name. Now get ready for liftoff.
T-minus 10,
9, come on.
8,
Count
7,
down with me,
6,
folks.
5,
I need all
4,
your energy.
3, 2,
1, come on.
0. Ignition.
Come on.
Liftoff. Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Let's go.
Get ready. Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your
And
hats.
get ready for the ride of your life.
The show with no name time.
On Vaughn Radio.
Come on.
Let's go. Go. Welcome, my amigos. Welcome, Show with No Namers. Wherever you're tuning in from, thank you for being here with us and learning and laughing and having tons of fun. I know you are nice and warm, bastante calentitos. Well, I don't know about your body temperature. I'm talking about your English, right? I mean, you listen to the Probo show every morning, don't you? And no excuses with Fitz? Well, then you should be rearing to go. Time for some action. Time for some action. Hey, you got to warm up for everything, even life itself. That's what coffee's all about, right? I know I purposely wake up way before the rest of my family because I need my coffee. And the workout is usually good too. Once I've had my coffee and a little workout, poco de ejercicio, now I'm a person. And some days you wake up with more energy and some days you don't. Hey, this is life. You need to know how to channel that energy, right? To muster it up. Ya estamos con vocabulario súper bueno. To muster up. We use it with courage a lot. Armarse, reunir, conseguir. I have to muster up the energy, to muster up the courage. Not mustard, mostaza, sino muster, que se escribe M-U-S-T-E-R. To muster up the courage. And how do you do that? Well, by practicing. That's what I mean. If you warm up every day, listening to Fitz's program, listening to Rob's program, then you'll be ready for anything English can throw at you. Well, I say English because that's what you're here learning with us every day. So that's why I always say Vaughntown is great. Why? Well, how are you going to prepare for understanding all different accents and communicating with all kinds of people all around the world, from Australia to New York City to Alabama or Texas, if you haven't had any exposure to them? Now, you can watch movies, you can listen to podcasts, Vaughn Radio, as you know. We've got all different accents here. But also we've got Vaughntown. And Vaughntown, I mean, it is a godsend. Una bendición. Algo mandado desde arriba. Seriously. In fact, I've been petitioning Vaughn, peticionando, o sea, preguntando. I've been telling them for years, hey, whenever you're ready, we can go do some shows at Vaughntown. I remember back in the day, we used to connect with the Vaughntown people, and they loved it because it was a chance for them to not only practice their English, but, you know, at the beginning of the week, they were nervous and reluctant. Reacios, like, oh, no, I'm going to die here. And at the end of the week, they were talking on Vaughn Radio. We did a connection with them, and it was awesome. And the students, I mean, you could hear it in their voices. They were like, wow, I'm talking on the radio, and I'm doing it in English. Wow. So it's a huge step. And want me to be dead honest with you? It is a lot of fun. I mean, you can ask Rob Grams. Rob Grams used to be the MC of this amazing initiative. And Rob, I mean, he sings the praises of it, ¿no? Siempre, he raves about it. Esto es hablar muy bien de algo. So not only did you have fun, but you had good meals, you made lifelong friends, and who knows? Some people even hooked up. Hey, if you're single, why not? Single and ready to mingle, as we say. Con ganas y listos para mezclar con la gente. So it's so much more than an English course. You know, we've got English courses, we've got online courses, we've got everything. But I feel like Vaughntown is in a category all of its own. There's Vaughntown, and then there's every other English initiative in the world. Because it's an immersive experience. You guys should do it. Tomorrow when you're tuned in, or later today when you tune into the lunchtime show, ask Rob Grams. Say, hey, tell us a little bit about your experiences at Vaughntown. And I guarantee some of them he'll be able to tell you about. Other ones, as we say in English, you never kiss and tell. Well, Rob was single when he was there. So, and, the last day, you're, I'm going to miss you guys. Because you really form amazing bonds with people, vínculos. And I know that. I told you, I've seen that even with our intensives, a week. And at the end of the week, you're like, I don't ever want to say goodbye to you guys. We've gone through so much together. And I'm not exaggerating it. I've done it a million times when I used to do the Christmas, antes lo llamábamos impacts, but now we call them intensives. And again, I don't know how long it's lasting, so don't quote me here, but last I checked, there was a 49% discount on our Christmas impacts. Again, if you want more information, the best thing you can do is go over to grupovon.com and take a look, take a gander, which is another way to say that. Or you can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, and you can always reach out about getting some more information there. Find out what it's all about, and we've got it really something for every level, for every budget, cada presupuesto. Maybe you're like, well, you know what? I'd love to go to Vaughntown, but I can't afford it right now. Well, let me just tell you, if you go to England, if you go to London for the weekend, you're going to spend more than you do in a Vaughntown, and you're not going to speak as much English. So just remember that too, that, I noticed that a lot of times my friends are like, oh, I don't know how you have money to go to Disney World, or not Disney World, Disneyland in Paris. And I said, well, I don't know how you have money to go out every weekend and spend 300 euros. Right. So everybody's got money for what they want, right? For what they think they need. But this is something that, as always, I say with all our stuff here, anything you do to enrich yourself, whether it's getting a master's here with us at Vaughan or getting your MBA, that's not spending money. That's called investing money. And smart people invest money. So if you want more information about anything, please feel free to contact us, to reach out, and we'll give you all the information you need. Remember, we've got offices if you want to stop by in person, because I'm like that too. I like to get the vibe of a place. I like to talk to people. Well, you can stop by our offices in Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, Vigo, Valladolid, Valencia, Santander, or Zaragoza. All right, are you guys ready for your first challenge? I know, you're chomping at the bit. Estáis que no podéis. All right, well, it's time for today's Say What soundbite. Come on. Say what? What? Yes, yes, yes. Say what, say what, say what? All right, folks, welcome to your Say What soundbite here on the show with no name. As you know, the Say What soundbite is a section of the show where you listen to all different accents. Hey, kind of like Vaughntown, but on a smaller scale. Because Vaughntown, you're there for the week. You're not going to escape, and you're not going to want to. But as I always said, I've never done Vaughntown, but I've done the residentials. And I remember at the beginning of the residentials are like Vaughntown, but like hardcore version. Okay, normally it's, executives and famous people, because it's, I remember once we had doctors. It was a convention. It was like 30 doctors that came. And it was beautiful in Ciudad Real at a winery. Beautiful. So you're in a gorgeous setting. And the residentials were OTSS. Only the strong survive, because you've got all the mingling and, understanding and speaking with everybody. But you've also got classes. You got to give a presentation. And the first day, second day, I remember some of the people, some of the attendees saying, I don't think I'm going to survive. I even saw people almost breaking down and crying. Like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And always, it never fails. By the third day, definitely by the last day, they don't want it to end, because they realize I can do this. I was kind of getting in my own way. All right, also, let me give you a quick reminder. This week's question of the week. It's the last one of 2025, so make it count. What makes you jealous? What makes you envious? Maybe you're not a jealous person, but you are envious of certain attitudes, behavior. I imagine knowing you guys, it's not a material thing. Well, I know you guys pretty well, I think. And I imagine you're not envious or jealous about somebody's possessions, but more, somebody's energy, somebody's attitude, these kind of things. Would you? As I said, jealous is never good. The green-eyed monster. But envy, if it makes you say, well, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to emulate what I see, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. I know in Spanish you kind of interchange them. But if there's one that has a positive connotation in English, that's envious. Oh, I'm envious of your relationship. I really love the way you guys, look in each other's eyes and you really treat each other well. You're giving someone a compliment. Un piropo. You're saying, realmente tengo envidia de como, right? And I remember when back in the day, I'd be like, oh, I'm going on vacation for a week. And people say, que envidia. I'm like, well, don't we have the same amount of vacation days? Like I thought all the workers had the same amount of, at least at the same company or in the same department, the same amount of vacation days. But then I realized it's just an expression. And I had a student say, Alberto, ¿cómo se dice que envidia in English? And I said, we say have fun. It's just a different way of saying it. Estáis diciendo lo mismo, como, porque no lo decís por negativo. I noticed that. It took me a while, but I'm like, ¿por qué siempre dicen eso? Porque pueden ir ellos también, si quieren, con sus vacaciones, a lo que les apetezca. But then I realized it was another way of saying, wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. But instead of saying have fun, as we would, because eso es para nosotros, hey, you're going skiing in the Alps. Wow, amazing. Have fun. Pásalo bien. But you, by saying que envidia, you're saying, wow, I'd love to join you, So it's interesting how we look at these concepts of jealousy and envy. Just be careful you don't say yelos. He's very yelos. Yelos. No, jealous. Y de hecho, hoy in the modern vernacular, young people say, he's jelly. Gelatina o mermelada. Para los británicos, jelly es gelatina. Para los americanos, Jell-O es gelatina y jelly es mermelada. Peanut butter and jelly, our all-American dish there. So, but the young people say, are you jelly? ¿Estás celoso? En vez de jealous. Acortan todo. This situation is really sus. Do you know that one? Suspicious, right? It's really sus, right? The party was lit, encendido. That means excellent, awesome. Yeah, these are all, guys, kids, no matter where you are in the world, young people will always make up their own words because they don't want to talk like you outdated adults. And I get it. I did the same thing. And now I see it with my daughter. My daughter's like saying things. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Interesting way of expressing that. All right. Well, folks, today we're going to listen to somebody who was a pioneer, not just in the world of comedy, but as a social commentator. Yeah, as somebody who had something to say, not just, I'm going to get up on stage and tell you some jokes. His jokes were really excellent observations about the society we live in and the way people behave. And those are my favorite comedians. In fact, I think they go further. Another example of a comedian like this is George Carlin. George Carlin wasn't just up there telling jokes. He was observing the society he lived in, making funny observations, but actually made you think. And these are my favorite, these thought-provoking, as we say, que te provocan que pienses, thought-provoking comedians. So here's the king of thought-provoking comedians. The other one, as I said, George Carlin. Apúntalo, and you guys can give him a listen. And again, George Carlin is a wordsmith. A wordsmith, un don de, o sea, usaba la palabra como nadie. So he might be a little bit hard to follow. But here's your Say What soundbite. As you know, you're going to hear it 4 times. So we'll see if you guys can figure it out. At first, just give me your take. Vuestro opinión. Vuestro. I hate that you guys have genders in your language because it makes me always second guess myself. Why can't it just be non-gender? Isn't that the way these days? Like everything is just fluid, or at least the language should be. All right, here it is, your Say What soundbite for the first time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well tonight. I'm glad to be here. I've been on the road doing comedy now for 10 years, so bear with me while I plaster on a fake smile and plow through this shit one more time.
Alberto, estoy leyendo un cómic y me estoy dando cuenta de que todas las onomatopeyas que salen son verbos en inglés.
Of course, man.
Animal masticando.
Sure, to chomp.
Es mascar, ¿no?
Sí, mascar. Y lo haces con tus piños. Your chompers.
Ah, chompers es los piños grandotes, ¿no? Vale, y to click, por ejemplo.
To click. Well, to click is what you do on a computer. You click. Pinchar.
Perfecto, pinchas con el ratón. Claro, tiene sentido. To gulp.
Well, before I was gulping my soda. Gulp, 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 gulp.
Claro, estás tragando como un pato.
Eso es, no es lo mismo que sip.
Bien. To thump.
Thump. Don't thump your fist on the table. No des un pum, pum en la mesa.
De hecho, el conejito de Bambi se llamaba Thumper.
Eso es, todo tiene sentido en inglés.
Claro que sí, por eso hemos hecho el tercer libro de This Book is the Milk, que se llama This Book is the Shit. Este libro es la leche. Por Alberto Alonso
y Damián Moya.
Así da gusto aprender, y lo sabes.
And you know it. That's right, folks. If you want more information about anything we offer, whether it's one of our books, whether it's one of our courses, please feel free to reach out. And to reach out means contactar con nosotros. Also, I just got the Grupo Von newsletter. While we're here on the air live, I just got it. And I've got some good and bad news. And I'll just read it from the email. This way I don't paraphrase. Si estás pensando en comprar un curso para ti o los tuyos, date prisa, porque a partir de enero de 2026, algunos programas Vaughan cambiarán su precio. So, you know what that means. They don't go down usually unless there's a special deal. So if you're interested in that, make sure, I mean, it's inflation, right? Everything's kind of gone up. And if you look at prices 10 years ago for English classes, they're not the same as, well, for anything 10 years ago, they're not the same as they are now. So they're giving you a little heads up. Again, you can subscribe to the Vaughn newsletter. Really easy. All you have to do is go to the website and you can apuntarse al newsletter. I don't know exactly where, but I'm sure you guys are tech savvy enough, que tenéis conocimiento suficiente para encontrarlo. All right, we've got a lot to do. Good luck with today's Say What soundbite. That was a tough one. It is time for today's pop quiz. Pop quiz.
Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz.
That's right, folks. Welcome to our pop quiz here on the show with no name. And as always, we're going to take a look at something from one of our materials. This is from Word Maps. As always, pay attention because I will ask you some questions afterwards.
And today's show is going to be it's going to be a wonderful show. It's going to be a meaningful show, I hope. And I hope it's also going to be a useful show because today we're going to look at a whole series of words that end in the suffix F-U-L, like some of the words I've just used in that little introduction. Beautiful, wonderful, meaningful, powerful, useful. So, a lot of these words, they're easy to work out what they mean because when we say, for example, beautiful, what we're really saying is we're describing something that is full of beauty. Algo que está lleno de belleza. It's beautiful. If it's meaningful, it's full of meaning. Yeah? Entonces es significativo. But it's interesting because the adjective full by itself, a solas, a secas, full means lleno. ¿A que sí? Efectivamente. Significa lleno. But it's written F-U-L-L. O sea, F-U-L-L. That means lleno. But when we create this little suffix, which means basically lleno de lo que sea, como beautiful, lleno de belleza, all of these words end with one single L. So be careful there when you're writing. We don't say beautiful with double L at the end. Wonderful has just one L at the end. Useful has one L at the end. And all the words we're going to look at today have just one L at the end. Let's start then with a nice, easy one. The word useful. So, in fact, we're going to start by looking at adjectives which describe things that are, well, full of nice things. So something that is full of use, it's useful, obviously, is a very positive thing, is útil. You can talk about a gadget. You can talk about a device. You can talk about a tool that is useful. Yeah, this device, it's the chisme, this device is extremely useful. It helps me an awful lot. It's very useful. Advice. Sí, consejos, que en inglés se expresan de forma singular, ¿ok? Advice. Y además, no es contable. We say some advice. If you want to make it countable, you have to talk about a piece of advice, una pieza de consejo, literalmente, yeah? Or de consejos. So some advice or a piece of advice. That was useful advice. That's useful to know. What you told me was really useful. Those tips, esos consejos, those tips you gave me were really useful. The tips you gave me for my exam were really useful. That tip you gave at the start of the show, reminding us that all these adjectives that end in full are written with just one L, was really useful. Sí, muy útil. I can see. Now, we have a synonym very closely related to useful, which is helpful. Yeah, we use helpful when we're talking, again, about advice. Oh, that was very helpful. Or about a person. When you're talking to a child who is trying to help. Yeah, you're being very helpful. That lady was very helpful. Yeah, the lady we asked directions for.
All right, folks. Well, as you can hear, there is a lot of useful vocabulary in there, and we're going to take a look at it when we come back from this quick commercial break. So stick around. Welcome back. Welcome back, amigos. Really good lesson there. That is from Word Maps. It's a book available at the Vaughn Tienda. And the book just takes different words and picks them apart. So you've got words, you've got endings, word maps. Let me look for it. It gave me world maps. No. Word maps, tu mapa mental hacia el inglés. And again, it's written by Richard Brown. Also, as you can hear, he was a little bit stuffed up in that audio. Un poco resfriado, constipado. We don't say constipated. Constipated means that está estreñido. And, well, it's got tons of different things in it. So you've got 50 different words. Okay, some of them are verbs. Some of them are endings, terminaciones. Some of them are prefixes. So you got prefixes, suffixes. But it's a way to really delve into a word. To delve into, indagar, right? To delve into it. It's called Word Maps, 50 different words. But of course, well, I should say 50 different chapters with hundreds of different words and expressions in each chapter. Over 20 hours of audio. 20 hours. And you might be asking yourself, well, how much is this material going to set me back? ¿Cuánto me va a costar? ¿Cuánto me va a dejar en negativo, right? To set me back. Es una forma graciosa de decirlo. $14.95. Yeah. So $15 for 50 chapters, 20 hours of audio, where you'll look at native expressions, nouns, adjectives, synonyms, suffixes, prefixes, and all that jazz. All right, so here's what I want from you. I'm going to ask you for a couple different words. The first one is somebody who is happy. Now, all of these words have to end in F-U-L. And I'll remind you of something really important that Richard Brown said in that audio. Full es lleno. F-U-L-L, que no se pronuncia como fool. De hecho, he oído mucha gente decir fool, tonto, y full, the same. So, vamos a decir, el tonto está lleno, ¿no? Que ha comido demasiado. The fool is full. The fool is full. Well, in this case, when it's the ending, the suffix, again, prefix is at the beginning, suffix is at the end, it's only one L. Oh, I've seen people write wonderful, aunque la idea es que tiene abundancia de tal cosa, y veremos que algunas veces es less, right? So less es, ahora, el less sí que tiene dos S, como menos. Okay, but we'll take a look at some examples either way. So, all of these words that I want you to use, and I'll let you use them in your own context today. This way you can associate the word with someone or something. The first one is alegre, feliz, animado. Okay, again, one thing they're all going to have in common is that. The second one is, I think you say dañino, nocivo. Okay, dañino, nocivo is the second word that I want you to use. Again, I can think of many things that are dañino y o nocivo. Okay, that would be your second word. And the third word that I want you to give me in context is significativo, algo profundo, right? I can give you an example. Yo siempre intento poner algo significativo si te firmo un libro. If you come to the book fair or as Born to Iron Man did at our trivia night, I always try to, instead of just putting something random, I try to say something profound or from the heart, right? Elocuente, significativo would be the words. Profound, significant, okay? Y si lo hablamos con una relación es seria, ¿no? Importante, que tiene sentido. Right? Que tiene mucho sentido para ti. All right. So the first one again is another way of saying happy. In fact, these are the best people. People who are usually happy, animados, alegre. It's fun to be around them. Right? So that is number one. Number two, algo dañino, something that's dangerous for you, not good for you. And the last one is something profound, something expressive, something significant. They all have one thing in common. They all end with F-U-L. I look forward to seeing all of your examples, amigos, and I'm going to give you the very tricky. I know it's tricky. Believe me, I'm aware, or at least I try to be aware of how hard each section is each day. And I'm sorry. But also, again, I'll say what I always say when we have a really tricky say what soundbite. The harder it is here, the easier it's going to be out there next time you're using your English. So here's your say what soundbite for the second time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well tonight. I'm glad to be here. I've been on the road doing comedy now for 10 years, so bear with me while I plaster on a fake smile and plow through this shit one more time.
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mhm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah, wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así de gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo Vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damián, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the Shit.
That's right, folks. This book is the shit, available at Vaughn Tienda. Also, a quick reminder, too, you've got a 49% discount. I believe it's 49. Check for yourself on our Christmas intensive. So if you want more information about that or anything, remember you can find it all on our website or by following us on social media. And another thing I just told you as well, by subscribing to the newsletter. In fact, I learn a lot of things from Vaughn's newsletter that I wouldn't normally know about, right? Look, as I said, noticias de interés. No esperes al 2026, los precios suben. Hey, listen, prices go up. That's the way it works, right? Everything goes up except your salary, as we've all seen. But, and I'm not just talking about myself. I think that's a general feeling there. But you know what? It's good to get a heads up. Hey, at least, Vaughn's taking the time to say, listen, just a little FYI, if you are in our circle, well, now's the time. Now's the time, because later you're going to be like, oh, man, that used to be this much or the other. And, well, it's always good to get a special deal. And as you know, well, we offer special deals all throughout the year. So not just at Christmas, we offer special deals. So keep your eye open. I think the best way to make sure you don't miss out on these deals is by following us on social media. All right, now we were looking at Word Maps, which is an amazing book, as I said, chock full of audio, of totally native expressions. And let's review some of these words that end with full. Easy ones. Let's start easy, and then we'll get a little more complicated. Something that is really pretty is beautiful. That's an easy one, right? Beautiful. Okay, something that is amazing is wonderful. Wonderful. Otra vez, con una L. Algo muy potente o una persona muy potente, we say powerful. Powerful. And that's one where we can use less as the antonym. Now, that doesn't always work. We don't say beautyless. It might be a word, but it's not used. We just say ugly, right? Wonderless. I think everybody would understand you, but again, if they are words, they're not commonly used. However, powerless, sure, that one's used a lot. I'm powerless. I can't do anything in that situation, right? They say, I think we looked at Alcoholics Anonymous the other day. The first thing you have to do is admit you are powerless. You cannot control the alcohol addiction. It's controlling you. So powerful. Powerful can be a person, can be a car. Wow, that's got a really powerful engine. Careful. I know you've heard this one. Pues el inverso se puede decir careless? Of course. And it's used quite often. Man, you really did a careless job. That means you weren't paying attention to detail, right? Now, what about if you forget things easily? You say olvidadizo. Forgetful. I'm very forgetful. Algo con muchos colores, colorido. A peacock, for example, un pavo real. I love that you call it a royal turkey. We would say colorful, colorful. Y esta también funciona colorless, right? A veces lo decimos de una bebida. Oh, water is colorless, for example. Colorless. It doesn't only have to be a painting. La falta de, la carencia de es el less. Otra vez, S es con dos S, pero el full con una L. I love this one. Insightful. If you are insightful, it means that you say smart things. A ver cómo lo traducen aquí. Insightful. That was very insightful. Esclarecedor. Ooh, that's a difficult one. profundo, perspicaz. Oh, I have heard that one. So your comment was very perceptive. It was very insightful. Insightless, I haven't heard. Okay. Resourceful. Oh, that's a great one. Resourceful. That means that te sacas las castañas, I think you say in Spanish. It means that you know who is the most resourceful person I can think of? MacGyver. You call him MacGyver, right? He could take 3 different things and make a radar, right? Un radar. So, habilidoso, capaz, ingenioso. You're very resourceful. I think it's important to be resourceful in life. What about if something is really scary? ¿Se te ocurre alguno con full? Dreadful. Oh man, that performance, that song is dreadful. Ugh. Dreadful. A ver cómo lo traducen aquí. See, I'm learning some new words in Spanish here too. Some of them I'm familiar with. Terrible, espantoso. Dreadful. Oh man, that dress is dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. I know you know the next one. Alguien que está que se piensa las cosas, que es muy consciente de su entorno. Mindful. ¿No habláis vosotros de mindfulness? Pues viene de consciente, ¿no? Sabes lo que hay. You're aware. You're mindful. It's a great word, right? And I know you've all used it, okay? Mindless, normally that's to talk about like TV entertainment, you know? Why are you watching this mindless nonsense que no hay que pensar que es, ¿no? Mindless. So te estoy dando donde se puede los less también, donde mindless, mecánico, que no requiere que pienses. Piénsalo, sin mente. Desconectas. Now, sometimes I like mindless entertainment. I used to love Beavis and Butthead. Why? Because I didn't have to think. It was mindless, right? Faithful. Faithful, fiel. That means you don't cheat on your spouse. Graceful. I love that one. Graceful. Con elegancia. I think of a ballerina when I think of graceful. She's very great. Grace Kelly was very graceful. Okay? Eventful. Que han pasado muchas cosas, muchos acontecimientos. Oh man, my week at Vaughntown was really eventful. Eventful. Okay, event, acontecimiento. A ver cómo lo traducen, ¿sí? No siempre se puede traducir exactamente como lleno de acontecimientos. Ajetreado, de intensa actividad, memorable. It was very eventful, right? Y ahí viene de han pasado muchas cosas. Hopeful. Are you hopeful for the future? Or are you more of a hopeless person? Ahí es una donde sí que el antónimo es less. Hopeful versus hopeless. Terrible, another way to say it, pitiful. Man, your performance was pitiful. Also, it's an Otis Redding song. They call me Mr. Pitiful. They call me Mr. Pitiful. Me llaman señor horrible, terrible, pitiful. Now that's interesting because pity es con Y, pero esta palabra se escribe P-I-T-I-F-U-L. Respectful. Yeah, no lleno de respeto, respetuoso. Mira, esa no la tenía que buscar. Right? Respectful. El inverso, disrespectful. O sea, hay veces que se cambia la primera parte. So are you disrespecting me? Are you being disrespectful? Because I prefer it when you're respectful. Painful. Painful. ¿Nos vale painless? Claro que sí. Y también no tiene que ver siempre con dolor físico. Oh, wow. I thought that interview was going to be hell, but it was painless. ¿No? Sin problemas. Bastante fácil. Painless. Delightful. It's another way of saying excellent. That was a really delightful, delitar, right? That was a really delightful conversation. Peaceful. Are you a peaceful person? Or are you a warmonger? Are you always trying to stir it up? Peaceful. Peaceful. Helpful, we looked at. Richard Brown pointed that one up. Now, helpless is a little bit different. Because helpful is, muy amable. Thank you. You've been very helpful. But helpless is more like a creature. Like I think of a creature that can't defend itself. So they're not exactly antonyms in that case. right? Oh, please, look at that ant. It's a helpless creature. Helpless. Helpful, I would definitely learn that one, because si haces una pregunta y la persona es muy amigable, indefenso, desamparado, defenseless, helpless, right? A baby is a helpless creature. You have to do everything for a baby. So it's not always the antonym, the less and the full. In this case, it is useful, right? I remember our parents used to say when we were sitting around doing nothing, they would say, make yourself useful. You're useless. Inútil, right? Versus útil. Haz algo útil, right? Blissful. Well, if you know, this is a good thing too. The more roots you know, the more you'll understand the word. What is bliss? Absolute happiness, right? Blissful. So la dicha, you say, I believe. So I'm very blissful. I'm so happy. I'm missing nothing, right? And then it reminds me of the idiomatic expression, ignorance is bliss. They say, I don't believe that. Ignorance is bliss. So blissful. Blissless, I've never heard. Playful, I think of a cat, right? Playful. If a cat is playful, they like to play. Playless, I've never heard. Stressful. I've had a stressful day. I've had a very stressful day today. Okay. Regretful. If you know the word regret, what does it mean? Lleno de arrepentimiento. Okay. Regretful. Youthful. Joven. Lleno de juventud. Youthful. Sinful. De pecados. How do they? Viene de la palabra pecar. Sinful. Sinful. Pecaminoso. Inmoral. Yeah, immoral, we would say, or sinful. Those are sinful thoughts. Those are immoral thoughts. Grateful. Lo mismo que thankful. I'm very thankful for you, my students. I'm very grateful for you. Same. Grateful and thankful. Greatless, I've never heard. Ungrateful. No, ungrateful, I believe. Yeah, because if the person is an ingrate, but you're ungrateful. Yeah. So ungrateful is the opposite of grateful. Oh, I gave him a nice present and he didn't even say thank you. He's an ingrate. He's ungrateful. So ingrate sería sustantivo and ungrateful, right? Thankful. I'm very thankful. Thankless. Thankless is not the exact opposite. Thankless is, well, it's a hard job. It's a thankless job. You don't receive credit. You don't get rewards for it, right? Thankless. A ver cómo lo traducen. Desagradecido, ingrato. It's unrewarding, right? Successful. Is it successless? No. So successful, what's the opposite? Unsuccessful. His attempts were unsuccessful. Okay, and again, guys, I'm going over some of the most common ones. I'm skipping, I'm looking at a list over here and I'm like, eso no es tan común. But the ones I think you need to know are the ones you're hearing right now. Vengeful. My wife used to say this one. She goes, don't be vengative. And I said, I understand you, but we don't say vengative. Vengativo, right, in Spanish. This is vengeful. Somebody who always seeks revenge. Okay? And I'm seeing if there are any other ones here that I've got. Stressful, we looked at. Youthful, grateful, thoughtful. Esa lo hemos visto también en otros momentos. If you're thoughtful, eres detallista. You think about other people. Wow, I told you that I really like this group, and you got me their album. That was very thoughtful. Okay? Esta la vamos a ver ahora. Thoughtful, truthful. Truthful. That means eres una persona honesta. Okay. Forceful. Lo ha hecho con mucha fuerza, la fuerza. A ver cómo que no lo ha hecho con maña. You know what? You shouldn't be so forceful. Okay. Contundente. Bueno, también puede ser forceful, no solo como convincente también, powerful. But forceful means you use force. You command force. Spiteful. Spite es rencor. Don't be spiteful, right? Don't be a spiteful person. Hurtful. Your comment was very hurtful. Okay, we looked, in fact, that's one of the ones we're going to look at here, isn't it? Oh, no. No. Well, I gave you a different way to say it, okay, which we're going to take a look at in just a moment. I'm looking at any more here. Bountiful, que hay muchísimo, hay en abundancia. Merciful means you have a lot of mercy. Merced, que perdonas a la gente. So again, these are some of the most common ones that I've come across. You know, the ones that everybody knows. And as you saw, sometimes the opposite is less. Sometimes the word is used with less, but it's not the opposite. So take note. Take note. All right, let's take a look at your answers over here. The first one, I see you guys are all very cheerful. Well, cheer is, you're full of cheer, de ánimo. Think of a cheerleader, right? And I'm always cheering you guys on. You're very cheerful. I think you also say risueño. That word rings a bell, that adjective. Cheerful. He's always so cheerful. Cheerless, I've never heard. You're cheerless. Maybe, let's see. You know what, guys? Sometimes they exist, but it's just expressed in a different way. Cheerless. Yes, it does exist. Deprimente. But I would just say you're depressing. You're sad. You're dreary. So sometimes the word exists, but it's not used as much as its antonym. Okay, so that first one, again, cheerful. It's a really cheerful person. The next one, harmful. Sure, pesticides are harmful. Harmless, es así que se usa. Harmless. Okay, this means it won't hurt you. It won't cause any harm. Okay, and the last one, meaningful. We had a really meaningful discussion. I hope you found this lesson to be meaningful. Amigos, we have got to go to a quick commercial break. We are halfway through today's rockin' show. We'll be right back with much more, so stick around. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back, my amigos. This is the second half of today's show with no name. Thank you to all of you for your participation. As always, whether you're participating live on the live stream or you're participating later on, the important thing is to participate. It is your English class. So always remember, like we just went over about 60 or 75 words. The important part there is not just that you write them down. In fact, writing them down is good, but saying them is priceless. Mira, otro less. Priceless. Priceful no se dice. Hey, that's how you learn. By exposing yourself to words. And the good thing about those prefixes and suffixes is that you know, carencia de algo o lleno de esa cosa, right? In fact, I remember when I was a kid, the teachers were always focusing on know your suffixes, know your prefixes, know your roots, and you'll be able to figure out what a word means just by looking at it. You're like, okay, respect plus full, so I guess the person shows a lot of respect. All right, amigos. In this part of the show, we are going to take a look at our homophones. we'll listen to our really difficult Say What soundbite. I know it's tough. Plus, world records, wacky world records, de locos, chiflados, and our spelling bee as well, which is, man, only for our tireless students. Los que no llevan llantas? No, tire como cansado. Tireless means no os cansáis. And that's you. That's a great way to describe yourselves. And there's another thing I recommend too. I recommend, since we all are at an age, I think, where we can be honest with ourselves, you should learn how to describe yourself, right? So even you can ask your family, hey, ¿cómo soy? Dame 5 adjetivos para describirme. And then make sure you know those adjectives in English. If anybody asks, oh, what kind of person are you? Well, I'm a very thoughtful person, and this respectful. And you can learn how to describe yourself. I always do that too with my students with their jobs. I'm like, tell me what you did today. I want to know in detail. You should be able to talk about yourself, whether it's on a personal level or whether it's about your job. All right, here we go with today's homophones on the show with no name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, my amigos. It is homophones only on the show with no name. And I didn't even mean to, but I just said one of these words 3 times. Yeah. I caught myself right before I played the jingle. So if you were paying attention, you just heard me say this word 3 times. Wow. I did not plan that. Sometimes I plan to link things, and other times they're just linked together. All right. The first word is tiempo. Okay. I don't mean tiempo. I mean that tiempo. Okay. I don't mean tiempo la hora. Okay. In fact, I remember when I first started teaching, my students would say, what's the time? And I'd be like, 2:45. They'd be like, what? What's the time? You're asking me what time it is, right? It's 2:45 p.m. And they're like, no, I mean in New York, what's the time? I'm like, oh, well, 6 hours before. And they're like, no, what's the time? I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Porque yo no sabía que el tiempo. See, that's something I learned. And I learned it from my students making the mistake. I'm like, I've heard previsión, but I hadn't heard qué tiempo hace. And then I realized tiempo, temporal. I was like, aha. So even, I'm learning Spanish from mistakes. And what I've realized again, and I've told you this many times, is some of the biggest mistakes come from literal translation. But I'm always taking note as a teacher and as a student of Spanish. So the first one is tiempo. Tiempo, right? ¿Qué tiempo hace en Nueva York? Okay. And the second word, this is the one I said 3 times. And again, I did not do this adrede, on purpose. This one is sí. Okay. O tanto sí, independientemente. I think I used it as independientemente de tal is the way I used it. Sin importar sí, aunque. Okay. Ya tal o tal, bien tal o tal. Okay. And again, if you were paying attention, then I just said the word 3 times. All right. The first one I think you all know too. So this should be an easy one. Well, hey, it's to make up for how difficult today's Say What soundbite is. All right. Then what else have we got to do? Oh, speaking of Say What soundbite, here's your Say What soundbite for the 3rd time. Again, do the best you can. That's all I can ask of you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well tonight. I'm glad to be here. I've been on the road doing comedy now for 10 years, so bear with me while I plaster on a fake smile and plow through this shit one more time.
Alberto, viene Tom Cruise al hormiguero y tengo que decirle una cosa. Tengo que decirle, vamos al lío. ¿Cómo se lo digo?
Vamos al lío, tío. Eso es facilísimo. Piensa en la canción de DJ Tiesto. Let's get down to business. Give me one more time
together.
Let's get down
to business. Let's get down to business. Ah, lo sabía, pero no sabía que lo sabía. Aprende inglés con canciones, películas, videojuegos, series, personajes, onomatopeyas, todas las cosas que te rodean están en inglés, pero no te das cuenta de que ya las tienes en la cabeza. Solamente hay que colocarlas y para eso utiliza nuestro tercer libro, This Book is the Shit, por Alberto Alonso
y Damián Moya.
Así da gusto aprender.
Oh, yeah. That's right, folks. That's right. This book is the shit. If you don't have it, you can pick it up over at vontienda.com. All right. I see we've got a lot of people participating. And right now, it seems like it's pretty unanimous. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So everybody thinks these words sound the same? Are you absolutely sure? Hey, I was just trying to throw you off. Desconcertarte. Yes, they sound the same. An easy way to remember it. I don't know whether the weather is going to be nice tomorrow. I don't know whether, no sé si el tiempo va a estar bueno mañana. I don't know whether the weather is going to be nice. Another way we say is pleasant. We're going to have pleasant weather. Placentero, I think you say the same thing, right? So nice weather. And the difference here now is that they both start with W, but then one of them has WH. I know you know how to spell weather, el tiempo, but I don't know whether you know how to spell the second weather. So that one is WHETHER, weather. Hay una H ahí extra que a veces confunde hasta a los nativos. Yo he visto gente escribirlo sin esa H, and it's like, wait, that's not the same. Now, here's my next question. How do we say ¿qué tiempo hace? Oh, there's some lightning and thunder and lightning. What's the difference? Lightning is the one you see. Thunder is the sound. It's like thunder, lightning. The way you love me, it's frightening. You better knock on wood, baby. And you know it from Grease, lightning, thunderstruck, AC/DC. So if you listen to music, you'll hear a lot about thunder and a lot about lightning. Thunder, 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 thunder. Thunder, lightning and the thunder. Off the top of my head, a bote pronto, sin haberlo pensado antes, I just came up with 4 or 5 songs that have to do with lightning and thunder. And I can give you want me to do some with rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? What rain am I referring to? The purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain, purple rain, or perhaps the only one. Oh, no, that's the same one. November rain. Es que, claro, tengo que buscar el ritmo. When you're walking in the cold November rain. And also you've got Milli Vanilli. Don't forget about Milli Vanilli, the lip syncers. Blame it on the rain. Yeah, blame it on the stars that shine tonight, whatever you do. I can't believe I remember the lyrics to that. Okay, you caught me. I was a Milli Vanilli fan. I say was because I don't even know who they are because nobody really does. There were other people singing, and you say playback, but a lot of times what we say is to lip sync, right? Sincronizar los labios. Viene de hecho, in sync, el grupo in sync es porque they dance and sing in sync, sincronizados. All right, so How do we ask about qué tiempo hace? I see some comments here. Good job. What's the weather like? Absolutely. What's the weather like? Or how's the weather? Okay, but we don't mix them. So no decimos how's the weather like. Yo lo que haría es elige uno que te guste más. El más fácil creo que es how's the weather. How's the weather in New York? Right? What's the weather like? Pues eso es otra, pero no mezclemos. También another mistake I've heard people say climate. It's not climate, sino climate. O sea, suena igual que escalarlo. If you see that mountain, if the climate is nice, I'm going to climb it. O sea, homófonos, otros homófonos here. And also the word rain. All right, let's see if you guys know. What other word sounds like rain? I think we've looked at this one before. Reinado, mandato. Okay. The king, during the king's reign, he always wanted to hear Purple Rain, right? Durante el reino, el mandato. Also the reins, pero esta se usa en plural, las riendas. Take the reins. All right. So, wow, a couple different homophones over there. I couldn't fool you guys. Now, I don't know whether you know these weather words or not. So let's see. I'm going to put you to the test over here. A snowstorm. You say ventisca? Is that how you say this? A snow. A ver cómo lo ponen aquí. See, I know I've heard these words before in Spanish. Tormenta de nieve, ventisca. Ah, look at that. Mira, a veces se te quedan las cosas. Another way you can say this is a snowstorm, but there's another way to say it. Blizzard. Blizzard. That's right. In fact, any Ozzy Osbourne fans? The Blizzard of Oz. ¿Lo pillas? El Mago de Oz is the Wizard of Oz. Well, Ozzy Osbourne, I think it's an album or maybe a song called The Blizzard of Oz. So he's playing with that blizzard. It's also, if you've been to the United States, there's like a frozen smoothie, like ice cream milkshake called a blizzard. And you can get it with Oreos and it's Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen is the brand. La Reina del Lácteo. I guess Dairy Queen and Burger King got together and who knows, maybe they'll have a delicious baby. Not really good for you, but delicious nonetheless. All right, so blizzard. Also, we can talk about tormentoso. I think you've heard of this. Stormy. Stormy. Well, that means it can be a snowstorm, but it means that the weather it looks like a storm is coming, right? We're in for some stormy weather. Nos espera. We're in for some stormy weather. You can also say if they have a stormy relationship, same, right? I don't think I have to explain it. I think it makes sense, right? All right, inundación. El verbo inundar. Flood. Flood. Now, a place that's not ready for floods sometimes gets flash floods. What does that mean? Inundación repentina. De repente, it goes from, I think it happens down in Almería in certain places where they're not used to rain. So if it rains a little bit too hard for a little bit too long, everything floods. All right, humidity. If it's humid, what's another way of saying it's really humid? Porque yo nunca diría naturalmente. It's really humid. I would say another word. It's correct to say humid. We say muggy. M-U-G-G-Y. It's really muggy in New York. Okay, un día de viento es no windy, sino windy. Cuidado con la pronunciación. He oído mucha gente decir windy. Windy. All right. We already said snow, a snowstorm. What about agua nieve? Ooh, now we're getting into some crazy territory here. Sleet. Bueno, si vives en un invierno en Nueva York, lo tendrás que usar. Sleet. Okay, there's a lot of sleet. Sleet, aguanieve. What about, se me olvida la palabra, granizo. Well, those are the worst. They can destroy property. They're harmful, hablando de la palabra que vimos antes, dañino. Hail. There was a hailstorm. There are big pieces of hail. One of my favorite words in Spanish, chirimiri. I love it. Chidi meaty. Sounds like a dance. Chidi meaty means, or is said in English, drizzle. Drizzle. We also use this one in the kitchen. Ponle un poquito, un chorro de aceite de oliva. Drizzle some olive oil on top of it. Right? Drizzle. So that word's got that double meaning. Frost, I think you know. Frost is cuando se congela. So you get frost in your freezer, but you can also get frost on your windows. And we've got a famous Christmas song, Frosty the Snowman was a jolly happy soul. All right, hurricane. Cuidado con la pronunciación. I've heard people say hurricane, right? Hurricane, hurricane. Or you can say twister, right? It's easier to say twister than a hurricane. And we already looked at lightning and thunder. So there you go, folks. Excellent job. Oh, and niebla? Niebla is fog. What the fog? Nubloso? Nubloso o nuboso? I always get mixed. Sí, a veces, mira, por muchas veces que he visto estas palabras, nublado, nuboso. Ah, por eso lo he mezclado. He mezclado nublado y nuboso. Okay. All right. Cloudy. Cloudy. También se puede decir overcast. Okay. Today it's a bit overcast. It's a bit cloudy. And you should know how to talk about the weather. Why? Because weather is how we start small talk many times. Es como inicias. That's how you strike up a conversation. Oh, it's a cloudy day today, huh? Oh man, I can't take this mugginess. It's so muggy. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, right? How many times have you started a conversation talking about the weather? So it's good to know how to talk about the weather, whether you like it or not. Excellent job in our homophones, but it's time to move on to wacky world records.
Wacky World Records. These are the wackiest records in the whole wide world.
All right. Now, I'm going to warn you now, you will be hungry after this. You will definitely be hungry because I'm just reading it and I'm hungry. Also, I'm always hungry, so don't follow my lead. All right. Well, today we're looking at the most people eating a single piece or strand, a strand de pelo o de un noodle, de un spaghetti, of spaghetti simultaneously. Yeah. Have you seen the scene from Lady and the Tramp, Dama y el Vagabundo? Yeah, that's right. And they call it an Italian kiss, right? Because, well, you have a piece of spaghetti and you both are eating it and then your lips lock. And you know the rest. A nice smooch, un beso. Well, a German restaurant group called Vapiano, so obviously they specialize in Italian food, they gathered 465 couples at the Tempelhof Airport hangar in Berlin. Now, hangar is hangar. We say hangar, igual que percha, pero se escribe percha hangar, ¿no? Con ER, aunque se pronuncian igual. O sea, hay una percha en el hangar. There's a hangar in the hangar. Okay. So Tempelhof Airport, this is where they decided, well, you need a big space to fit 465 couples. I mean, we're talking about almost 1,000 people gathered together. And the idea was to have them all perform this Italian kiss simultaneously. Again, I'll just have to say two words, Lady and the Tramp. Bueno, son más de dos palabras, pero dos personajes. Lady and the Tramp. It's a famous scene there. And this Italian kiss involves two people sharing a single strand, la palabra que os dije antes, of spaghetti and locking lips when they meet in the middle. I think that's really nice. And yes, it has definitely made me hungry. The most people eating a single piece of spaghetti simultaneously. and that is 465 couples. Hey, that is wacky, but I guess that's why it's one of our wacky world records. Folks, it's time for today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee.
All right, here we go, folks. Today's Spelling Bee. Are you ready? I am going to fly through round one as I always do. Let's see if you can keep up. The first one is WALES. The second one is ENGLAND. The third one is HOME space NATIONS. The fourth one, SIX space NATIONS. The fifth one is RUGBY space UNION. And the last one is 39 space TITLES. Oh, I told you I was going to go fast. Someone's going to get it. Even if you don't get it on the first go, I know there's no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to get it on the second go. But also remember this, in this section, I never really go slow. Yeah, I go fast and then a little bit slower. So I never go slow. Let's put it this way. I go in turbo and then I knock it down to fourth gear in cuarta marcha. Yeah, I'm never going to go in for. Well, I you know what? I've met many teachers in my day who talk to their students like this. Not at Vaughn, thankfully. And you're not helping your students with that. You know, you're helping your students by talking the way you'd really talk, right? Because then what's going to happen? They're going to get out there and be like, fuck, I understood everything in my English class, but people don't really talk like that, you know? So I try and keep it real, as we say in New York. All right, here we go. Round two. The first one is WALES. The second one is ENGLAND. The third one, HOME space NATIONS. The fourth one is SIX space NATIONS. The fifth one, RUGBY space UNION. And the sixth and final one is 39 space TITLES. Folks, we have got to head to a quick commercial break. I can't believe it. It is our final commercial break. We are zipping through the show today. Thank you for all your participation, and we'll be right back with so much more. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the fourth and final part of today's show with no name here on Vaughn Radio. Don't forget to stay tuned, because up next, you've got Speaking with Confidence with Ale. After that, you've got the Lunchtime Show with Rob Grams, followed by Speak English with Ruby. You've also got Let's Get Random with Jules Linares. You got the Salad with Dave Boys. Drive Time, hosted by my buddy from Canada, Kyle Miller. You've got Jessica Fernandez and the Hour to Empower. You've got Chris Frank and Frankly Speaking. Make a cocktail with Chris as you kick back and relax after a tough day at work. There's no better way to improve your English than having a cocktail with Chris. You've also got Richard Vaughn Live, of course, the master himself. And your mornings would be incomplete if it weren't for the Pro Bow Show with Rob Grams and No Excuses with Fitz. These are not just my friends, they're my family. And I mean that. You know I mean that. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. O sea, voy en serio. Even though I'm always joking around. But when I want to be meaningful, to look at the word we looked at, when I want to be meaningful, profound, well, I do. And then since I don't do it very often, when I do it, I am sincere. All right, well, my amigos, are you ready for another challenge? I know you are. I'm just asking anyway, but I know you're always up for a challenge. Siempre estáis para la labor. It's time for today's Double Trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is.
Give it up.
Double,
Come on, baby, baby, come on.
trouble. I said double, double trouble. Double, double trouble. I said double, double trouble.
All right, my amigos, let's take a look at today's Double Trouble. And before we begin today's Double Trouble, a nice round of applause for Elena. You're like, but wait, you didn't even give it to us yet. How did she get it so quickly? Well, she sent it to me. So, Elena, you can't play today because I know you know it. This one comes from your classmate, and I'm warning you now. You are forewarned. Prevenido. Elena's not going to make it easy for you. So good luck. All right, here we go. No le menosprecies. También es no le insultes, right? Same kind of vibe there. No le menosprecies, insultes ningunes. I don't even know if I said that right. Sabes que lleva sin techo un buen tiempo. Oof. Now, it can be sin techo literalmente, but it can also be en la miseria, okay? To be in a really bad situation, okay? Estar a las últimas, en la miseria, destitute, okay? Great one, Elena. I love that you are thinking of these. And in fact, I believe there's a movie. Let me check. Yes, there is a movie. A couple, in fact, han salido varios. There's a movie that came out in 1986. I can give you a little clue, called En la Miseria in Beverly Hills. Pero no sé si eso es la traducción literal, pero no, si es la traducción que le han dado, pero es la literal, ¿ok? So, un loco suelto en Hollywood, claro que sí, claro. ¿Cómo no? Un loco suelto en Hollywood. Pues en inglés es en la miseria, right? Sin techo in Hollywood. And the movie stars Richard Dreyfuss. Wow, great. Nick Nolte, he plays the guy who is en la miseria. Also Bette Midler. and Paul Mazursky, very talented actors in this one. Paul Mazursky also directed it. Oh, I didn't know that. Look at that. So, it's called in Spanish, Un Loco Suelto en Hollywood. And it came out in 1986. But if you know the title in English, then you know how to say Sin Techo en la Miseria. All right, so excellent one. Elena, I love it. No le menosprecies, no le insultes, no le ningunes. Sabes que lleva sin techo un buen tiempo. Remember, you have to use the same word twice. Also, let me give you our really tough say what soundbite. Here it is for the fourth and final time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well tonight. I'm glad to be here. I've been on the road doing comedy now for 10 years, so bear with me while I plaster on a fake smile and plow through this shit one more time.
Nunca he entendido por qué a la gente le hacía gracia el personaje de Spider Cerdo de la película de los Simpsons. Es que no tiene gracia.
¿Cuál dice? ¿Spider-Ham?
Spider-Ham,
Es graciosísimo en inglés.
Claro, tiene todo el sentido. Es como la araña jamón.
Eso es.
Claro, tiene sentido que sea un cerdo. Y su identidad secreta es
Peter Porker en vez de Peter Parker.
Ah, claro, tiene sentido. Porker, que es como...
A porker es un gordito y viene de pork, que es cerdo.
Ah, tiene todo el sentido del mundo. Así da gusto aprender con This Book is the Shit, el tercer libro de Alberto Alonso
y Damián Moya.
No te pierdas nuestro método Milky. Vas a aprender un montón porque en realidad ya lo sabías todo.
That's right, folks. Making a great Christmas gift. Any of our materials at Von Tienda, including my 5 books, you can give them to any of your classmates, and I'm sure, unless they already have them all, and believe me, some of you, I wouldn't put it past you. I wouldn't put it past you as no dudaría. I wouldn't put it past you to have all of the Von materials. Well, you guys are hardcore. Yeah, and that's why you are head and shoulders above the rest. Un peldaño, 2 peldaños por encima de los demás. That's our Von Radio students. All right, let's see now. Let's see if anybody got today's double trouble. Not yet, huh? All right, well, I'll tell you what. In the meantime, why don't we take a look at our words and our spelling bee? We've got a couple winners. Give it up for our show with no namers. Great job. Well, the words all had to do with the 6 nations. Any rugby fans here? Now, be careful, because if you say rugby, I know in Spanish you want to say fútbol americano, but it's not the same thing. So, and I remember as a kid, they say, I'm a rugby. I'm like, no, rugby is a different sport, right? There are similarities, but they're very, very different. Okay? So, and I know that rugby, we don't say rugby, we say rugby, is quite famous in Spain now. I believe there's even a rugby league. And I know Alberto Chicote, the chef, he's a big rugby fan. And I've seen its popularity go up tremendously. Rugby. I've got to be honest, the only time I ever watched rugby was when I was working as a bartender in an Irish pub and the 6 Nations was going on. And I remember I asked my friends to give me a briefing. No, dame un poco de fondo aquí trasfondo, so I know at least what to talk about, because I don't even know, the first thing about rugby. But it seems like an awesome sport. I mean, it seems tough, man. It seems painful, in fact, because that's one of the comparisons. A lot of the rugby players look at the soccer players, los futbolistas, or the NFL players, the fútbol americano, and they're like, ha, 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 you guys don't know what it's like to get hurt. Well, in the NFL, they beat each other up, they tackle each other, but they're wearing a lot of protection. In rugby, you can take a look at them. They're not wearing too much. I mean, they've got some. I imagine they're wearing a cup or an athletic supporter. Eso es lo que te proteja los huevis ahí. But in American, they've got the shoulder pads. I mean, they got everything. So a lot of times rugby players look down on. There's another way of saying despreciar. They look down on other athletes because like, you guys are weak. Sois débiles. All right. Well, the reason is today in 1882, Wales and England played the first home nations. What is home nations? Well, that's what it was originally called. It became Six Nations. Now it's called Six Nations, but initially it was called Home Nations. And this is rugby union, and that's what it's called, the league. So number 1 was Wales. Number 2 was England. Number 3 was Home Nations. Number 4 was Six Nations. That's the name it became. Rugby union is the league, and 39 titles. Well, that is the record right now, and that is a tie or a draw, un empate, between England and Wales. Now, let's see. I'll put you to the test. Which Six Nations participate? I already gave you 2. England and Wales, right? They have 39 titles, respectively. All right. Also, France, Ireland, Italy, and Scotland. So there you go, folks. That was your spelling bee challenge. They all had to do with rugby. And as I said, I'm going to kind of wrap it up here, acabarlo aquí, because I don't know the first thing about rugby. All I know is it looks cool. I would never want to play it because, well, I value, my face. But it looks exciting to watch, I must say. All right, let's go on over here. Looks like we've got a couple people taking a stab at today's Double Trouble. Well, I just said to look down on. Esa nos vale. No le mires, no, como si tú fueras superior. So don't look down on him. You know he's been down and out for a while. Okay, to look down on es, piénsalo, tú estás mirando desde encima. A little bit different than looking up to someone. So to look up to someone is to admire someone. To look down on, fíjate que cambia la preposición ahí. I look up to my grandfather. I look down on people who smoke because I don't think it's, a good quality, right? So, but the one Elena gave us, and I would say must put him down, yes, menospreciar, insultar. Don't put him down. You know he's been down and out for a while. And to be down and out es sin techo, pero también es en una situación muy precaria. And the movie that I was talking about is called Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Excellent job, Elena. Thank you for sending us that one. We learned a couple different things. To look down on, to put down, to insult, and also to be down and out. All right, well, we've got to move on. And speaking of movies, I guess it's time for Name That Movie. Name That Movie. Yes, it is time for Name That Movie. And imagine if the movie was Down and Out in Beverly Hills. It isn't. All right, here we go. By the way, I love this movie. My daughter loves this movie, and my wife. We collectively as a family, we don't always agree on movies, love this movie. All right, here we go. A local scientist is often regarded as a failure until he invents a machine that can make food fall from the sky. But little does he know, pero él no sabe esto, es frase hecha, but little does he know that things are about to take a turn for the worst. Las cosas están a punto de cambiar, pero de forma mala, ¿no? No van a mejorar, van a empeorar. To take a turn for the worst es la expresión. So a local scientist, remember the person is a scientist, because I've heard people say, he's a scientific. No, he works in scientific research, but he's a scientist. Is often regarded, considerado, as a failure un fracaso, until he invents a machine that can make food fall from the sky. Sound familiar? This premise is very, very unique. But little does he know, pero se va a enterar él pronto, that things are about to take a turn for the worst. I love this freaking movie. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. The movie is called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Hey, we were talking about the weather before, y eso es otra cosa que oirás cuando hablamos del tiempo. Cloudy with a chance of showers. Por ejemplo, que hay posibilidad de que llueva, right? So that sounds like a weather report, really, when you hear it. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Now, normally, as I said, showers, we didn't look at this when we were talking about the weather, but I know we've looked at it before. Showers means rain, right? In fact, most times you'll hear a meteorologist say showers instead of rain. We're expecting light showers with a chance of showers, right? So cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Well, think about it. The meatballs are falling from the sky. So it's kind of a pun, a play on words of a weather report or a weather forecast. I said the word before, to forewarn, prevenir, avisar con antelación. Well, forecast es decir la previsión, right? De hecho, se usa como sustantivo, right? What is the sales forecast for next year? So we can use it as a verb or also as a noun. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs, and it stars Anna Faris, Bill Hader, Bruce Campbell. I mean, it's a stellar cast. Benjamin Bratt. Bueno, Benjamin Niñato, si no tuviera dos T's, right? Bratt es con una T, pero su apellido es con dos T's. It's a really good movie. You should check it out. And let's see. Let's take a look at the scene. My dream was to help my hometown. Mi sueño era ayudar a mi pueblo. A small island hidden under the A in Atlantic called Swallow Falls. O sea, escondido que debajo de la A de la palabra Atlantic. O sea, un pueblo perdido de la nada. Called Swallow Falls. Las cataratas de tragar. Swallow Falls. We were one, eso es como se llama, okay? We were one of the leading exporters of sardines. Como lo oyes, exportábamos sardinas, éramos los líderes. Until the day Baby Brent Sardine Cannery, eso es donde lo enlatan, they put them in cans in a cannery, closed when everyone realized that sardines are super gross, asquerosos. So everyone was stuck, atrapados, atascados, eating all the sardines that nobody wanted. Frozen, congelado, boiled, hervido, dried, resecos, fried, fritos, candied, and juiced. Candied es cuando le pones azúcar. And juiced, imagine that, sardine juice. Anybody else feel like puking? Yeah, me too. Life was gray and flavorless. Mira, ahí tienes el flavorful y flavorless. Volviendo al pop quiz, flavorful, tasty, que tiene mucho sabor. And flavorless es que no tiene sabor, right? Another way to say that is bland, right? And tasteful and tasteless, un poco diferente. Tasteful means de buen gusto, no de comer, sino ese comentario, that was a tasteless comment. So flavorless and flavorful, si hablamos de comida, tasteless and tasteful, si hablamos de comentario, okay? Life was gray and flavorless, but when things seem hopeless, una palabra que vimos antes, I stared down at defeat. Le miré a los ojos al fracaso, a perder, and I found hope. So now he's hopeful, not hopeless. All right, there we go, amigos. It's time to go to a party, though. It's famous birthday trivia.
Birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name. We've got to fly through these because we are running out of time. Number 1, Benjamin Niñato. I just gave you his name a minute ago. He was in the movie, well, he voiced a character in the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. He was also in, Blood Out, Demolition Man, Miss Congeniality, Traffic, also many others, Snitch as well. And he's done a lot of stuff on TV. He also voiced characters in Coco and Despicable Me 2. You say Gru Dos. We call it Despicable Me. Number 2, this guy is one of the singer-songwriters and guitarists in ZZ Top, one of the greatest rock blues bands out there, famous for their beards, their spinning guitars, and most importantly, their awesome music. And last but not least, an American comedian, musician, and somebody who really had a social commentary, and his name was Factura Catetos. Yeah, Factura Catetos, from Texas. Born in Texas, although he didn't have a Texas accent when he spoke. He died very young, at the age of 32. He died of pancreatic cancer. All right, number 1, Benjamin Bratt. Number 2, Billy Gibbons. And number 3, Bill Hicks. Guillermo Factura, mejor dicho, Catetos. Yeah, a hick es un cateto. And that'll bring us right over to our Say What soundbite today. This is Bill Hicks. If you get a chance, check out Bill Hicks. Also check out George Carlin. I think those two guys were not just comedians, but they were ahead of their time in everything. You know, the thing, they weren't making poo-poo and pee-pee jokes or, oh, let me tell you about my brother-in-law, mi cuñado. Okay, that's funny sometimes, you know. My grandma was the funny. No, these were like really, really insightful comments and jokes, all right? Meaningful, para volver otra vez a estas palabras full. And here's Bill Hicks, and he goes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he was always smoking and drinking on stage. That probably contributed to his passing, su fallecimiento. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well tonight. He goes, espero que estéis bien esta noche. I'm glad to be here. Me alegro de estar aquí. I'm glad to be here. I've been on the road doing comedy, de gira. I've been on the road doing comedy now for 10 years. Llevo 10 años de gira aquí. So bear with me. Paciencia conmigo. While I plaster on a fake smile, mientras pongo una sonrisa falsa. To plaster on is poner, right? Cubrir con algo, ponerme algo, right? Well, I plaster on a fake smile and plow through this shit one more time. And a plow is the thing that moves snow, okay? But to plow through something is to go through it quickly, right? Sin pensarle, seguir adelante, okay? To plow, a snow plow, we were talking about the weather before, is the, how do you call a plow? Arado. Bueno, eso es en agricultura. The one for snow, barredora. So as I plow through this is, lo hago rápido sin pensar, no? Lo saco adelante. All right, so excellent vocabulary. Great job to everybody who participated. And here he is, Bill Catetos.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well tonight. I'm glad to be here. I've been on the road doing comedy now for 10 years, so bear with me while I plaster on a fake smile and plow through this shit one more time.
All right, folks, that applause is not for Bill Hicks. It's for you. Excellent job, as always. You guys are always going above and beyond, and I thank you for your energy, your effort, and I will remind you to stay tuned because up next we have got Speaking with Confidence with Ale, and we're going to say goodbye with an awesome song. It's a tribute to Legs, Las Piernas de las Chicas, and it's ZZ Top That's right. ZZ Top Legs. It's a song that came out in 1983, and it starts out, she's got legs. She knows how to use them. Come on. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for Speaking with Confidence with Ale. Ciao.